welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video I wanted to talk about the new Family Pocket. There is a new Family Pocket on the market, but this thing is completely different if you look at the previous model. The previous model was just a basic 8-bit system with a lot of shitty games, a lot of double games, quite an interesting device and quite an interesting design in my opinion. But nowadays we're having the new version and that's what we're going to talk about today. Because this thing is quite interesting, I can tell you that. What I really can appreciate when they are giving us a handheld complete in box, and when the box is not more like this rubbish cardboard with a little bit of a print on it. They are giving us a very nice high quality box, as you can see over here, with chrome letters on it. I really like what they're giving us, so if you're a big collector of boxes, I think you will be pleased with the complete packaging. So here we're having the Family Pocket itself. We're going to do a little bit of compare, because if you look at this, it's in different color, but they are very similar to the old versions. Here we're having this thick, little tiny piece of paper that is basically the manual. Happy smile. Inside the box we're finding quite some different cables. We're having the USB cable for charging. It comes with an AV out cable. I can already tell you it's very shitty if it comes to the quality of the image. It comes with a protection sleeve, a ripcord and a little cartridge. And the little cartridge, let's talk about this, because this is quite interesting. Like with the previous model, we can remove the backplate and we can put the cartridge in here. So what it basically does is very simple. We're going to get different games. Going to quick power up so you can see what I mean. It will give you the same menu, but here we're having some different 8-bit games. There are a lot of familiar games that we know of the mini arcades, like the F-22. And if you remove it, you will get the complete list of all the games that are on it. But we're going to take a close look at it later. So when you're putting them side by side, the new and the old model, you can see they basically use the same shell. Only there are some minor differences what we're going to talk about today. Here we're having a very minor difference. The D-pad is exactly the same, but the menu button, here we're going to get the biggest difference. For example, we're having the reset is sticking out a little bit, as you can see. Feels very clickish. With the new model, it's the menu button for going back to the main menu, but they aligned it with the system itself. But when you're looking at the layout and everything, it's basically the same like the previous model, and it applies also to the quality. It feels very clickish, very cheap. We're having A, B, X, Y over here. And the buttons, you can already see it. If you're pressing one, the other one still moves. Nevertheless, it's a very cheap feel, so that's not a very good positive thing. We're having 2 shoulder buttons, or what you can call shoulder buttons. You can reach them, so we're having 6 buttons. That is more enough for most two-dimensional games. At the bottom we're finding a jack out, it's a mini jack, and we're having micro USB for charging. At the top we're having the 2 shoulder buttons already mentioned. And here at the side we're having on and off switch and volume control. When you're opening it up, you can see we're having the BL5C battery inside. It's a 1200 milliamp model. It's a very common battery, but I do like about this model of the handheld. As you can see, we can even use normal batteries. I think you will not, you don't want to use this. It will drain batteries like crazy. But right, let's power it on and let's see what we're going to get. So the first notable difference is that we're having a completely new menu. This is not an only 8-bit system anymore. We're having here the Famicom, Arcade, Mega Drive, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Classic, Master System, Game Gear and even the SG-1000. So it's not like the other devices I've reviewed with open things. You're stuck with what you're seeing, and so far I know you can't add new games. So the display itself, let's zoom in a little bit and you can see that it is not an IPS display. Alright, so let's try Famicom. Let's see how it runs on the new model. Moving around is a little bit hard, simply because it's very challenging with the D-pad. For a cheap handheld, it's not bad at all. When you're in a game, it doesn't even matter what game you're playing, pressing the menu button will give you the menu. And with this menu you can just do a quick load, quick save and go back to the menu. What I do like when you're saving the game, it will also make this little preview over here. And as you can see, we can choose different save slots and applies also with the loading. Okay, let's try the menu button and you can see I already made a save file. Let's load it up. But here you can see that emulation is very good. I don't notice any big delay. Okay, so let's try an arcade game. But the first thing I did notice already is that it was very responsive. There was no big delay in emulation or any hiccups, nothing. Okay, let's try in Game Boy Color game. The relation is pretty poor in my opinion. And I must say, even for the Game Gear, it doesn't run bad. There are some problems with the Game Boy games, but alright, so it's plug and play, so you can use it very easily. You don't need to do a setup or something. Just plug in the cable and it works on AV out. And using it on a 90-inch display, it looks pretty decent. But when you're using this on, let's say, a 1080p display, it's not an option because it looks hideous. Alright, so I'm playing games and let's see how the performance are when you're playing the games in TV out mode. Alright, so let's try a little bit of Sonic. The point where we just did a quick load, quick save. I don't see any hiccups, no problems whatsoever. And also with the arcade game, there is no delay whatsoever. After doing 3 years of reviews, I can already tell you, sometimes they still surprise me with these cheap handhelds. The Family Pocket, seeing it, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be a revision of the old 8-bit system. But no, it's an all-in-one indeed emulator device that has some pretty decent emulation. The display is pretty decent, it's quite colorful, it's not an IPS, so the view angle is pretty poor. But this is just what we're going to get with, let's say, cheap handhelds from China. But looking back at all the handhelds I've reviewed, I must say the Family Pocket is not bad at all. Take in consideration that it isn't just more like a fun little collectible handheld that can play a lot of retro games. There is no way of adding game, the sound is pretty decent, the controls are, let's say, good. I'm not a big fan of the D-pad, but for the money again, we just can't complain. So this is what you're going to get. Let me know what you think of this. I want to thank you for watching. Consider subscribing to the channel, hit the little bell, and I will see you in the next video.